Greetings, everyone. Well, that's a lot darker than I anticipated. Hold on. Doo-doo-doo. Get out of here. Whoa. That's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. So let's see. What you guys some questions for me? Let's see if we got some questions. Boom, boom, boom. You're like, I don't. What the fuck am I watching? Why? There's 7 people watching. Let's see if we got any questions going. No questions yet. All right, cool. So at least I'm not being remiss. Remiss. I like fancy words. Fancy pants. There's this girl on Instagram from Appalachia, and it's so funny. She says some funny shit. Let's see here. Looks like my camera's off center, dude. That looks a little better. Let's see if I fix it. There's a delay, so I'm watching myself on my phone. It's about an 8 to 10 second delay. All right, cool. So that logo blocks my axe. I wish I could move it. Let me see if I can figure out how to move it. Private. Oh, there's comments. Oh, here they are. B. Herna. Switch to daily injections TRT. I feel better this week. Good. I'm glad you listened to me. Oh, I can show these. Oh, just leveled up, motherfuckers. How do you like that? Okay, so you probably do like that. All right. Actually, let me see. Can I do this? Yeah, that works a lot better. I can turn this off now. There we go. Oh, that's too dark. That's way too dark. Okay. There you go. Okay. I switched to daily injection of THC. I feel better this week. That's good. I'm glad, man. Thanks for listening. Love the Gears of War hat, bro. Me too. See, I'm like getting better at this shit. Oh, there's more. Stop. Oh, I was just texting John. John's the most shredded man in Florida. You know, they got that Florida man thing. That's John. He like eats gators. Let's see here. Michelle Brosasco. Hello, question on coaching. Are you licensed to prescribe meds to somebody living in any state, or is it state by state? I'm in Arizona, but moving to Washington State. It's damn hot here. I believe I can in Arizona. I don't think I can in Washington, but get a hold of me and we'll figure it out together. That there's options available to you, but I know that I do have patients in Arizona, so I know Arizona's okay. Washington, I think I have a patient in Washington too, but I don't know how we got that to work. Are you doing masters for Texas Pro? There is no masters for Texas Pro. I'm doing Texas Pro 212, and then I'm doing the Masters World Championship Pittsburgh. And if I was ready on time, I would have done Atlanta, which would have been Masters 212 and 212. And then I would have done Chicago 212. Hageless, here we go again. Morning, Todd. Just started peak week here for my first show. Any manipulations of water, sodium, etc. You like during peak week? Do you like loading carbs early in the week or later in the week? It depends on the person and what they respond to. If you have, I would probably do your carb load early. And then once you feel you spilled over, back off. Don't pull water until you're done carb loading and leave your sodium alone. So sodium's not a variable, it's a constant. You turn up the carbs the first 2 days, maybe do an extra 800 carbs between the first 2 days, or an extra 1,000 carbs between the first 2 days. Then take Wednesday or Thursday to wash out. And then like Friday, eat less food so you have a nice small waist. And then basically stop drinking water. Maybe if you're still got some water you're holding, maybe you're not holding water, maybe you're crispy as fuck on Friday, then just roll into it. Figure out where your best look is. Let's say your best look is 222, then just keep eating and drinking to stay at 222, and then when you wake up the day of the show, you drink enough water till you're 222 and don't worry so much about food. Like rice cakes and almond butter, the reason why people eat those is because they're really high in calories and they're very small. Like you could just as easily eat Oreos, but it's just healthier to do rice cakes and almond butter. Plus, the sugar may not do the same thing. So I don't mean Oreos, but I mean a very calorie dense food like raisins and almonds. Something that gives you lots of energy but takes up no space in your body and has no added water. Then you can control your water with what you drink. Thank you. If you go down, I don't know if it'll be on this, but if you go to any other video in the description box, there should be a link to go to my tap link. And at the very bottom, there's email. And you can email me and we can circumvent the consultation until we discern whether or not I'm able to prescribe to you in Washington State. The other thing is, if you're still in Arizona, I could just prescribe you in Arizona and you could take it with you to Washington. Not that I endorse this, but this is a very smart thing to do. If you have a prescription bottle of testosterone, once that's empty, you can always just put Underground Labs into that bottle and travel with the prescription bottle. No one needs more than one prescription bottle of testosterone. And I'm not suggesting that everyone gets testosterone. I'd have to look at your blood work. But there's ways around a lot of stuff. Dom Sornberger, Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal in boxing. And a few, you interested in a fight at all? Not really. I like the personalities. Like I like what's his name? I like Conor McGregor, and I like the guy who says all the politically incorrect stuff. They're funny. Other than what they have to say, I don't really give a shit about the fighting part. I know it's off brand for me. I'm supposed to be into that kind of stuff. When's Central Florida show so I can come? Oh, I think it's the 21st. Let me look right now. Hold on. Let's see. And I would basically just be doing a guest appearance, and for my supplement company, I wouldn't be Valhalla Labs. I wouldn't be competing. Actually, I might do the 21st. The 21st, I'll still be in shape. I might as well do the 21st. All right, so I'm going to the IFBB. This is what it looks like, if you can see. I don't know if you can see or not. The official page. And then you go to this thing in the top right corner, upcoming contests, division, men's bodybuilding. Let's see here. Because I know they don't have a 212. Las Vegas is Patriots Challenge, Bikini, Dubai, Mexico, August, China, Florida State Pro. View all that's August 10th. That's the same day, no way, as Pacific USA Pro. God, there's so many pro shows the same day as the Texas Pro. Does that say the Pueblo Pro? No. All right. Muscle Contest World, Nashville Fit Show is Bikini, August 21st. Actually, I'm eligible for that one. Muscle contest Brazil is a 212s, August 28th. I could do that show. I just have to go to Brazil. I only want to go to countries where steroids are legal because I don't want to get arrested in a country for using drugs and then go to prison for the rest of my life. Which is ironic because I live in the US, but that shit's just not enforced here. Mexico Pro. That sounds like, oh no, it's the same day as the World Championship. Hong Kong is too soon. I'd never make it there. Florida Pro, September 7th. View all divisions. It's Masters Bodybuilding, Classic Physique, Men's Physique. I could do Classic. I could probably make weight for Classic if I tried hard enough. Maybe. Heart of Texas Pro. What's that? Oh, that's a Classic over 40? Hmm. I'm over 40, and I could probably make weight for Classic. Anyway, so the answer to your question, John, is the Florida Pro, which is September 7th. It's Sarasota, Florida. I don't even know where that is. John, you tell me, where is Sarasota? I don't, I'm not. Whoa, look how many questions popped up. What the fuck? I was taking way too long. Atlas Shrugged. That is an Ayn Rand reference. I think Ayn Rand is one of the greatest authors of all time. Some people may not like that, but every libertarian likes Ayn Rand. Thoughts on test and GH cycle for your first cycle? Would just GH cycle have any benefits? No, you should use test and use an HRT level of test and an HRT level of GH, and then titrate up slowly until you start having side effects, then roll back to a level which you didn't. Don't just jump on 500 milligrams a test. Oakley 6575. Any experience with Blue Taylor as a coach? No, but my friend Colton Luke's worked with Blue and said Blue's a great coach. And I know Blue turned pro in Bantam in 2009 under Haney Rambod. And he knows his shit. I've watched him before. I like Blue. Blue probably doesn't know I exist, but I think you might be doing good with him. My understanding is he's very old school, hard work driven. I'm kind of a work smarter, not harder guy. So it depends. If you not want to know the reason why and you don't want to have to do anything unless there's a good reason, I might be a good choice. If you don't mind doing hard work and you don't really give a shit about the why, you just know like I'm going to do this and it's going to work because it's third hand Henny Rambod shit, then go with Blue. All right. Last blast. That sounded negative. It wasn't negative. I'm not putting Blue down in any way. Last blast switch to pinning ED, as you say, and there is no backing this time. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I love it when people come on and tell me that they got a benefit from my advice rather than it's just I have to defend myself constantly. Hagglis, thanks. I usually don't hold much water. I'm even considering running GH up till the show to keep me nice and full. Do you usually drop injectables in GH? So in the past I have, but I also didn't carb up enough. In the end, you're never going to look better if you're holding water. So if GH makes you hold water, you probably should get it out. If it doesn't make your weight go up, it's not going to bring your weight down to take it out. That if it's your first time, the best thing to do is run it with nothing. Either leave everything the same and only change the carb up and water protocol, or take everything out and then run a carb up water protocol. Figure out what the perfect carb up water protocol is, and then figure out which drugs make you look better, which ones make you look worse. But don't change 7 variables and you don't know what worked. That's Sean. Yes. I love Sean Strickland. At least in interviews, like him and Theo Vaughn are a good combination. Or like when I don't like watching him talk to women because it's kind of creepy when he puts them down or he's disrespectful to them. I like that one time where he couldn't concentrate because that girl was showing too much cleavage, so he made her put a shirt on so he could make eye contact. He's just so fucking funny. All right. For combat sports, beside testing HGH, will be conducive to assisting in performance. So a lot of the guys use Turnaball because it gets out of their system faster. I was actually going to do a video on Turnaball soon for the purpose of cheating in sports because someone asked me that question. I just didn't get around to it because I don't really give a fuck. Did you ever have falling out with Paul? No, I didn't. It's okay. So I want to introduce this guy. Emperor Sheev is basically a troll who likes to stir up shit. So just warning you guys. that he is a bad seed. He is a bad faith person. He tries to create drama and stir up shit. So that's why he's trying to get some gossip. Anyone who goes looking for gossip is a piece of shit. All right. What was this? Glare. Glare off of what? Glare off of what? Todd in Brazil would be fun. Yeah, having a video camera. Maybe I could rent a local. I guess that came out racist. Can you rent people? Hire a local to shoot content while I'm there and just have me try to figure out my way. I don't speak Portuguese. Sustanon, mass prop, D-ball is the goat stack. Yeah, this guy's clearly not someone you listen to. He's probably being ironic. Sustanon's fucking garbage for morons, and D-ball is for even dumber people. Ash Morosin. Hey, Todd, any research on biphasic sleeping? I like to sleep 5 to 6 hours a night and then get the other 2 hours in the day. If that's the only option, it's better than nothing. Can you prescribe in New York? Yes. All right. Most cops they won't do shit for personal use, only dealers. Yeah, pretty much. That's why I'm not worried in the US, but it's going to another country. Like, for instance, going to Colombia, I wouldn't care because they sell it in the pharmacy. I would just fly to Colombia and buy it there. If I was going to Turkey and competing in Turkey, I wouldn't care. I would just fly to Turkey and buy it there. But going to Tokyo or China or India, now I'm worried because I want to do those shows. But like, what do I do? Do I contact the promoter? Like, hey, what do I do about gear? Like, now there's a way of doing it without any gear. You basically stop your injections before you get on the plane, fly out there, and then run only orals, which is what a lot of guys do. But I think the reason why they do that is because they were afraid to fly with this stuff. But if you're going to go compete, you don't want to compete to lose. You want to compete to win. So you're not going to pay $8,000 for a plane ticket to Tokyo, first class, and you kind of have to fly first class if you're a bodybuilder, because if you get a DVT and die, you didn't win the show. So DVTs are a big risk for us. Hello, Todd. I hope you're doing awesome. I am Michelle Padovano. South of me. Oh, but how far south is how far south? Not that far. Okay, so he knew my follow-up question. You're the best, John. Benny Parcher. If I'm down to 15% body fat and 800 calorie deficit, and I stall at 10%, what would you recommend to get further? You would have to go on a diet break and pull yourself out for about 3 to 4 weeks and then start over again. Because if you already lost 5% body fat, the chances of you continuing to lose any fat at all is pretty low, especially if you just hit 10%. To get sub 10%, you have to start your diet like 12%. Would you say the natural athletes need to prioritize intensity over volume due to their recovery resources? Well, technically, intensity is harder to recover from. I think that natural athletes, I don't know. I don't think it's that simple. I think it's ultimately your effective reps are what you need to recover from. And that there's a law of diminishing returns the closer you get to failure. So going 2 reps in reserve for 4 sets versus failure for 3 sets, which is going to be more stimulus and which is going to be more fatigue. In theory, the equal amount of stimulus is an equal amount of fatigue. There's no way to cheat the system. What is the optimal ratio? Greater than 20-1. Oh, let me read the question out loud for people on Spotify. What is the optimum ratio of testosterone to estradiol? 20 testosterone to 1 estradiol. Now, that's not considering that the units are different. That's just going by what is on the piece of paper. And that's total testosterone, not free testosterone, compared to estradiol. So we're not going by free testosterone, we're not going by total estrogens. We're just going testosterone, estradiol, 20-1. If you're at 21 or better, it doesn't matter what your estradiol is. You're probably not going to have estrogen side effects. Bro, you had me switch my rice from jasmine to basmati, and my appetite is way better to cut. Thank you. I'm glad that it worked, man. I'm really glad it worked for you. Now, is it really dry? Because when I get basmati at an Indian restaurant, it comes out great. When I make it myself, it tastes like ass. So what I would do is add like a couple grams, just grams, not tablespoons, not teaspoons, grams of olive oil to the water when you make your rice in your rice cooker and stir that shit. You can even put in salt too. It comes out way better because it's gonna be less sticky. Nick P, is the thought of taking tests kills your fertility outdated? Yes. By outdated, meaning there are measures to get around it? Yes. You can totally knock girls up while you're running gear. Just look at the sport of powerlifting. All right. Your phone earlier. What the? Oh, glare was on my phone earlier. Got it. Okay. I've done it before. Not, I don't know if JT's referring to what this guy said, but it'd be funny if he's like, I've done it before. I've knocked bitches up while I was on gear. All right, let's see. Emperor, don't go to India. They're insanely biased and have no integrity. They love bodybuilding. What are you talking about? They will go for the Indian guy for first. No matter what. Alex Topolin, men's physique got robbed heavily in India recently. All right, Sheev, you're back in my good graces. All right, I take back what I said. Maybe you're not a troll. All right, Tom. Tom McGivern. Do you think older guys benefit from GH more? Yes, absolutely. That if you're 20 years old, you probably won't see a big benefit from GH unless you go like if your natural IGF-1 is 400, you're going to have to use way more GH to get back to 500 than somebody who's at like a 100 can get a lot of benefit out of 2 units. Aren. Am I saying your name right? Aaron? I feel like it's that episode of Key and Peele. Like Aaron. It's like Aaron is like, don't fuck with me, boy. It's Aaron. All right. So some educators suggest megadoses of Masteron is worse for skin aging. I don't know who anybody said that. I know that people make fun of me because they say I'm old. They don't understand that I'm on a diet and I'm cutting, and that's why I look so old. And that there's no rational reason why Masteron would make your skin age faster than anything else. I love the theory around using Masteron as a primary agent, but I'm worried to try it because of this. Who are these educators? I'm sure they're not educated. They're not educators, they're influencers. All right. Nick P. Todd, when people say HGH can increase tumors and cancers, is it true? Through IGF-1, yes. And is there a way to test for it prior? You have to test for each individual cancer and tumor first. And just because you know one marker for colon cancer doesn't mean you know all of them. But testosterone makes all those grow too. I mean, any growth factor, insulin, food, everything makes your IGF-1 or your GH or anything that's going to be pro building muscle is going to be pro building tumors. So it's out of context like everything else. All the fear tactics. Man, Dr. Todd. Wait, hold on. Yeah, okay, let me do the one at a time. Boom. Benny Parcher. Man, Dr. Todd's, you're the shit. Thank you so much. You're welcome. And it's 2Ds. 1D means death. 2Ds means little star. And my parents suck. They should have just named me Todd with 1D. Are there any benefits from using boldenone if hemocratic levels? To me, boldenone is just a cheaper version of Primo. So anytime you would use Primo, you could use boldenone and get 3 times as much for half the price. I know you promote daily injections, but not with test probe. Can you elaborate? Why not? Because test probe's like this in your blood, whereas an athlete's like this. The whole point of daily injections is stable blood levels. You're never going to get stable blood levels with any probe. Probes are garbage. They're for competition bodybuilders who want to take it out. Todd, once you make your app, you should have a Discord or a member section to have people chat. The whole point, there is that on the app. The app is almost done. It's not through Discord, it's an app. So there is a forum in the app. That forum is a member section. Boom. Yaya Dagnoko. What determines the length of a cycle? Okay, so the idea that you're going to abuse the drug because eventually you have to stop abusing the drug and go into a health phase is the wrong type of thinking. So I don't like the term cycle. People just use it. That I believe there's a cruising altitude where you basically raise the drugs up to the point where you're growing tissue, but your organs are not taking a beating, and you stay there until you're done growing. And if eventually you've grown so big you need more drugs, then what used to be a toxic level won't be a toxic level anymore, because as you grow more muscles, you grow more androgen receptors. So now your tolerance goes up. So as your need goes up, your tolerance goes up, and your tolerance goes up more than your need goes up. So in theory, you can stay in the green zone forever. You never have to go in the yellow, orange, or red zones. So you never have to come off. So if you have to come off, it means you abuse the drugs. You didn't use the drugs. And that's why the term cycle is dumb. It's not your fault. That's just what everyone calls them. I'm not calling you dumb. That's actually a good question. JT, do you ever put turmeric in your rice cooker? Yes. When you cook rice, all the time. I put turmeric, sea salt, and olive oil. Just a little bit of olive oil. I put in 3 cups of jasmine rice and 3 cups of water. I add 6 grams of olive oil. I add 23 grams, not 24, of Celtic sea salt, and I put in 2 grams of turmeric, to be precise. Sammy, I'm getting gyno surgery done soon. Is it true that removing gland will impact hormonization rate? Nope. Who told you that? maybe it is, but not to my knowledge. Money. I've been to India, and from the moment I stepped off the plane, everywhere I went, the country, it smelled like an open sewer. That is true. My understanding is, and God, I know someone's going to get upset. My understanding is they make the food so spicy that it does serious intestinal damage to people, and that they have extreme GI problems. That's why that every family has their own culture of yogurt, is to repopulate the good probiotic microorganisms in the colon. Of the 3, Tokyo, China, or India, my first choice is Tokyo. My second choice is China. My third choice is India. And they are, but they're in, but India is the last one. It's the December one. And I figured this India, since the national language English, would be the easiest for me to get around in. And I love all 3 of those cultures. And I know a lot of people are like, you like China, you're a communist. No, you stupid fucks. I don't like any government, but I can still like every culture. All right, Vigorous Steve. I've talked to Steve about Masteron, and the things that he says in the videos are based on research, but when we discuss it, he usually sees eye to eye with me, at least when it comes to me. All right, thanks. You're welcome. By the way, Steve is an educator. He is not an influencer. He may be an influencer, but Steve is an extremely smart guy. Everything, when I talk negatively about influencers who don't have degrees, Steve does have a degree. He has a degree in research. Steve is the best person to do research. You can bring stuff to China if you have a letter from your doctor showing it's a prescription. Well, that's not realistic because I wouldn't. There's no prescription for Masteron. There's no prescription for Primo. Yeah, but I guess with GH and insulin it'd be helpful. But thanks for that, JT. Personally, since I don't speak Chinese, I don't know that they're going to speak English. I don't know if they can read a letter from my doctor. Plus, I'm my doctor. I don't know how well that's going to hold up in Chinese court. Is elevated BUN blood work from high protein? Usually. Yeah, kidney markers. The only one that's valid is cystatin C in our population. Just the AA run. Oh, okay, cool. Haggulus. Compounds you would run during rebound after contest. Would you continue the fat burners during the rebound to minimize fat gain? I go into this a lot in my How to Cut series, but simply put, you titrate off the clen first. You titrate off the cardio. You titrate up to your maintenance calories and stay there. Then you start to pull your thyroid meds, so your thyroid goes back online. And then once all your blood levels are perfect, that's when you start going calorie surplus and worrying about anabolics being a different blend. Atlas Shrugged. Best cycle for lifestyle bodybuilders. The same one I advocate all the time is HRT test, as much GH as you can afford and tolerate, and a reasonable amount of Masteron, enough Masteron to get you to your anabolic threshold for growth. So for instance, if you typically need 1400 milligrams to grow, I would say between 200 and 400 test. The remainder is masked and as much GH as you can tolerate before bed. And by tolerate, I mean if you can close your hands and you're not falling asleep behind the wheel, you can tolerate it. Didn't you ask me that? Oh, you double tapped. Double tap. Rule number 7 from Zombieland. All right, video links. The last time I used EQ, I got super watery and looked worse and grew less than when I was just on TRT before it. I did 700 EQ and 300 test. Okay, then I guess don't use EQ or use less EQ. You know, I don't know what to tell you. Mao wanted to erase. Yep, that makes sense. Because here's the thing. Oh, part of communism would be to erase the past so that people didn't know how good it used to be. So that all you know is what they tell you. That I think part of communism is automatically totalitarianism. And I'm an anarchist. I'm basically libertarian, just shy of anarchist. So the idea of anything totalitarian is what I'm opposed to. I don't mind liberal beliefs. I do mind when liberal beliefs are forced on people who are conservative with totalitarian authority. So I don't mind people loving Jesus. I don't mind people hating Jesus. I don't mind people wanting equality for this special interest group. I don't mind people being capitalist. I don't mind people living in a commune. What I mind is anyone telling me what I need to do or trying to control what I do. I don't even mind if I'm disrespected because I'm different, but I don't want the government to then come in and take your shit and give it to someone else. That's or tell you can't buy something because you don't have a social credit score. That's fucking insane. Nice. Looking forward to the app. Me too. I'm not the one building it. I'm not that computer smart, as you can see with my and nonstop fuckitude. All right. I saw Indian government with UNICEF had to run a campaign called Poo to Loo to help people learn that they have to use the toilets in the house instead of defecating in the streets like many do. I can't comment on that because although I can read what you said out loud and it won't get me in trouble if I have an opinion about something that um controversial, it'll get me in trouble. And I have a feeling it has to do with where you are, like Bombay, which is returned to its original name of Mumbai. It has one slum that has 2 million people in it. That city has 20 million people in it. So there's parts of the city that aren't poor. So I don't think rich people are shitting in the streets. And I wouldn't be going where there's poor people. I'd be going where there's rich people. I'm not going to go vacation in the slums. Arwen, do you have a general cap on AS per week in the off season? So the 15 milligrams per kilogram is a new thing. I think it was started by Broderick Chavez. He used to say 20. I used to follow that. I didn't grow as well. Right now, I ran 3.5 grams for about almost a year now, and it's been going good. My plan was to do the same thing in the off season next time around. Try it with lower test, higher mast, and then swap out 1,000 of the mast for 1,000 EQ and see if that crushes my estrogen or not. Because everyone's like, oh, you're doing it wrong. You got to run test and EQ. You can't grow on mast. You got to run on EQ. So just to shut them up, I was going to basically do a Pepsi challenge. Once the rebound was over and once I plateaued and once there was no change, once I'm completely static, take of the 3,000 mast, put in 1,000, take out 1,000 mast, put in 1,000 EQ and see if I grew. And if I didn't grow from that and it didn't crush my E2, then I would do more. And eventually I'd replace all 3,000 mast with 3,000 EQ and see if it made a difference. I have a feeling it's not going to make a difference. All right. What could cause high HbA1c and blood work? HbA1c is when your glucose is too high. It's different in bodybuilders, so a lot of times we get a false positive for a high HbA1c. What's a bigger game changer, adding a second compound or GH? GH. No compound grows muscle more than any other compound. If it does, it's a tiny amount. Like Masteron might be 70% as strong as testosterone, and Deca might be 10% stronger than testosterone. So maybe for every 2 molecules of Masteron, you get the effect out of 1 molecule of nandrolone. But you'll get side effects from 400 nandrolone, and you won't get side effects from 3,000 Masteron. So what's stronger, 3,000 Masteron or 400 nandrolone? It's the 3,000 Masteron. So that's why it isn't about that. It's about your total milligram load with safe compounds. GH will amplify. So 2 units of GH and 200 test is stronger than like 500 test. People disagree with that. That's fine because they're measuring their gains with strength and size and side effects, not with actual muscle mass over this period of years. I saw that the Poodaloo before at a show too. Let's see here. Thoughts on Planet Mike? Would you use any content with him in the future? No. Why do you always want drama, man? Do you have any questions that aren't drama? It's like you're trying to get my opinion about other people and stir up shit so you can go to tell them, like, this is what Todd said about you. Do, do what you want. Leave me the fuck alone. Thoughts on the kidney toxicity EQ? I think that there's no data to support that it was exclusive to EQ. The study that did that, it measured EQ. It didn't measure EQ versus testosterone. And it wasn't that convincing anyway. Anarcho-capitalism, baby. Basically, the Ayn Rand model is I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want, and you can either stay in my way and get run over, or you can get the fuck out of my way, or you can jump on board. That's why Atlas Shrugged, well, the Fountainhead, yeah, Atlas Shrugged was about trains. The train was a metaphor. All right. China has still built many monuments to very important ancient figures in the past, though, while liberal capitalist Western countries are tearing them down. I don't really, okay, it sounds like I'm trying to get dragged into a fight that I don't want to have. I'm not trying to put down anyone's culture. I'm anti-government. I don't know what else to say. I'm opposed to big governments. I'm opposed to totalitarianism. I'm opposed to governmental control and regulations of things in general. And as far as I'm not ever going to defend liberal capitalist anything, because this is contradictory. Liberals are not capitalists. It's liberal Western countries are worse than communist China, is what you're trying to say. I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not defending Western culture. All right. Yep. True free market, no government monopolies. Ancient warrior. Boom, boom. Thinking of doing J3, do it. Use code Todd5. I think that it is the best spent money you can ever spend is on J3U. Just search it. It looks amazing. Boom, boom, boom. My bad. All right. I'm done, bro. Yeah, just don't try to stir up drama. Like, talk when you talk to somebody. So there's a very wise thing. There's 3 types of people: people who talk about concepts and ideas, people who talk about themselves because they don't know anything, so they're self-absorbed, and people who talk about other people that are so stupid they don't know anything and so boring they're not even an interesting topic. So when you gossip, what you're really saying is that you're stupid and boring. So don't gossip ever. Just don't do it. Who said it? The Dalai Lama said, next time you're thinking about gossiping, just imagine chewing on excrement. No, I'm not trying to fight. All right. I get 8 hours of sleep and 2 4-hour blocks a day. Is this the same? No, it's not. Because the beginning of your sleep cycles, you get much less REM sleep than the end. So the amplitude starts to taper, and you get the last 4 hours is more of your sleeping is less restorative physically, but more REM sleep. So what you're doing is you're getting more GH and more physical recovery, but not as much mental recovery. People might disagree with that. They might say I got it backwards, but I know for sure 8 solid hours is better than 2 4-hour blocks. Just think what they're going to do is doing in school. Yes, I do agree that exalting ancient China is cool because Chinese everything was fucking awesome up until the British invaded it and fucked it up. You know, and some people will say, well, actually, China really got invaded by Kublai Khan in 1271, and that really changed things. It's like, well, and then I would say Kublai Khan actually got assimilated into Chinese culture. And although he conquered them militarily, they cultured him culturally, and Mongolia pretty much ceased to exist at that point. And that would be an interesting way to talk about it. Like, and this is one of the sad things is we all love kung fu, we all love Chinese food, and then our government makes us try to hate Chinese people because they're telling us they're the enemies, when really it's just they're communist and our government's anti-communist. At least it used to be up until the last 10 years with the Democratic Party, but in California. But it, for the most part, all those cultures have something to really offer us. You can't block the drama guy. Can't you block the drama guy? I can, and I think I have on everything else, but he's behaving right now. If I say to someone like, this is what you're doing wrong, stop doing it, and they stop, then why would I block them, right? All right, I meant liberal ontology, not liberal in the American sense of left wing. It's all good. Yeah, I mean, this is a very complicated concept, and I'm not a political scientist by any means. You know, like I watch the same YouTube shit that every other non-educated person watches. I'm pro everyone's culture and preserving them. All the hate, all okay, let me say this. I'm pro everyone's culture and preserving them all, and hate the idea of globalism and making us all slaves. I actually want to preserve diversity. Yes, I totally agree, John. Is that, have you ever noticed that like Mexican food has basically the same ingredients? Everything's going to be some type of tortilla, some type of meat, some type of cheese, some type of rice and beans. And that after a while, everything is just the same ingredients, just put together in a different way. Imagine if there, or like Italian food, and that's American Mexican food. And then American Italian food is all basically the same. And American Chinese food is all the same. At least we can choose. Like I feel like Mexican tonight. And everything on the menu is going to basically taste the same. I feel like Chinese tonight, and everything on the menu is going to basically taste the same. And I feel like Italian tonight, and everything on the menu is going to basically taste the same. What if you mixed it all and had a fusion restaurant where every dish was a mixture of Italian, Mexican, and Chinese? It would just be some brown slop, and everything would be boring all the time. And that's what trying to take, you know, the diversity crowd is actually trying to eliminate diversity because they're trying to make everyone the same and agree with the same and think the same and behave the same and dress the same and watch the same stuff and listen to the same music. And they're taking away the subcultures that make for, like when people come here from like El Salvador, I don't want them to give up their El Salvadorian heritage. I want them to preserve it. And I want them to make food from El Salvador and open an El Salvadorian restaurant, and I can eat there and like their food. I want every single culture to retain as much of their culture as possible. I think we should all speak one language so we can all communicate, but I think everyone should be allowed to do their own thing. And I think it's totally cool. Like I had this black friend who's in the metal, and he says that other metalheads don't accept him as a metalhead because he's black. I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. What does the type of music you listen to have to do with your skin color? Mike, who is the drummer for Suffocation, is black. Terrence, who is the guitar player for Suffocation, was black. Suffocation is one of the most influential metal bands of all time. Yeah. Why do you think the price of GH came down so much recently? Because people, all the GH pharmacies in China, and I say that intentionally, all the Chinese farm grade stuff, which assholes call generic, but it's Chinese, so they're putting it down because it's anti-China racism. All the Chinese stuff is now regulated pretty well and made basically by the same people. And this technology and science is the same in all the labs. And since the Chinese can make everything cheaper, that people they're no longer competing with each other so much, and they can basically, or they are competing and they're driving the price down. And that's why you've got these guys who are selling farm grade GH from Europe, pretending it's from Europe, but it's owned by American companies, so they call it American farm grade, but it's European. And they're basically trying to sell their European stuff, and the people in Europe use the Chinese stuff. The pro bodybuilders in Europe all use the Chinese stuff. They don't use, none of the people in Europe are dumb enough to buy $600 a kit Belgian pharma that's sold out of Massachusetts and that dumb Americans think is American. Only Americans who have made of money would buy that shit. It's fucking retarded. Qingdao factories are the reason GH went down. Qingdao. All right. Government is so scary for us and our families. Yes. Gigi, have you ever read The Art of Happiness, which is a collaboration between Dalai Lama and a psychologist who spent time with him? I remember reading in high school. No, I did not. It doesn't sound like my type of book, but I probably should read it. Do you ever incorporate organ meats or fermented foods? And not as much as I should. I should use kimchi in the off season. I have a lot of Korean barbecue, and I have kimchi, or I have like a Reuben sandwich from a deli with sauerkraut. And I make my Reuben differently. I make a lower fat version of a Reuben. Private citizen, how do you feel about stimulants pre-workouts? Any favorites? No, that's why my pre-workout has no stimulants in it. It's because I don't believe in stimulants, and I don't believe in stimulants pre-workout. Cubacan, Texas. Is that a band? I know there's a band. Trudeau praises Chinese communism twice a week. I don't like Trudeau. If you believe, like I do, that a lot of the media lie to us about things going on in our own country, I would second guess when the media also is bad mouthing foreign countries. No shit. Like, for instance, when Putin was talking about his point of view, people were so pissed that what's his name? I can't believe I dropped his name. Starts with the T. I really like him a lot. He got kicked off of CNN for being too cool, or he got kicked off of Fox News for being too cool. That he gave him a platform and let Putin talk. And it was great because you got to hear how thoughtful Putin was and how intelligent Putin was. And it made Biden look so bad because Putin can rattle off history of Russia since the 9th century with extreme detail. And Biden can't remember what he had for dinner. I believe California and it blows. Yeah, California is a shithole. The way he is represented in Peaky Blinders is not at all what he actually was like or said it for himself. Who is in Peaky Blinders that you're referring to? I mean, I've watched. Are you not talking about Thomas Shelby? Are you? Would elevated alkyl phosphate be from training? No, alk phosphate is from bile duct damage, usually from oral usage, whereas AST/ALT is usually from training. Metal in American culture is not white. Yes, thank you. Metal is American culture, not white. Well, it's European culture too. I mean, you got power metal out of Germany. I would say metal did start with white people, but I think people are entitled to it everywhere. I mean, there's lots of great Asian metal bands. Like metal is just the best type of music. It's music for smart people. And that's what it is. The dumb people don't listen. I mean, there are some dumb people listen to metal, but there's a higher proportion of geniuses that listen to metal than any other type of music. And, generally speaking, dumb people don't like metal as much as smart people do. And smart people don't listen to Doja Cat. That there's nobody with over a 130 IQ listening to Doja Cat. Plenty of white rappers. It's not my thing, but whatever. Yeah, that's a good point. There's more white rappers than there are probably black metalheads, and not black metal musicians. Well, black people who are metal, but that's not true too, because the guitar player in Fernie's black, Thomas Abasi from Animals as Leaders is black. The thing is, when black people do metal, they're usually really, really good at it, so they stand out. There's just not that many of them. It's like that one black hockey player was like the best hockey player, Tiger Woods, the best golfer. It is what they are. When they put their mind to something, they kick ass at it. All right. Not all cultures are equal. Some are worth preserving, some are not. Those worth preserving are those who champion reason, individual, and capitalism. I value reason, individualism, and capitalism, but I'm not going to say that I don't think that. Okay, I will agree with the end of this. A culture that is worth preserving includes reason, individualism, and capitalism. Yeah, I'll agree to that. And the antithesis of those. So, do I value stupidity, groupthink, and obedience, and poverty? No. Eagle, he talked about wanting to help other countries from afar. while preserving our own industries and use the surplus to help other nations. We should preserve diversity in the world. Yeah, I don't know who we're talking about though, Eagle. We I don't basal insulin like Lantus often used to take ease off pancreas. I'm not very big, so no, don't do it. No, fuck all that shit. That's just dumb. That's dumb thinking. Just use berberine and walks after every meal to increase your insulin sensitivity. Taking Lantus does not improve insulin sensitivity. It just makes you insulin resistant. GH easy to get? I don't know how to answer that. I've been getting it just fine for the last 15 years, so I don't know what it's like not to get it. One of the greatest speeches of all time, Oswald Mosley's on Google and the archive site to listen. He said his speech is basically the same as the thing you said. Oh, really? Cool. I don't even remember what I said, but apparently I've got a popular Atlas Shrugged. What is if everyone is free to be themselves, the failing cultures will fall on their own natural selection. Nature will do their job. Yeah, that's true. That, in other words, a culture that's strong on reason and capitalism is going to defeat a culture that isn't very reasonable and isn't very industrious. Like if we've got rifles and you've got spears, y'all fucked. So it's like the efficient cultures will dominate over the weak cultures. That makes sense. Well, take a hint. If they don't want you writing it on YouTube, don't write it. What is your opinion on the current state of the U.S. medical system? Fucking awful. All right. Why don't you like stimulants? Because I don't understand why. The most important thing you could ever do for your health is get sleep, and caffeine and stimulants make it harder to sleep. So if you're trying to gain fat or you're trying to build muscle or burn fat, sleep is your most powerful tool. Stimulants will hurt that. So stimulants indirectly hurt your ability to build muscle or burn fat. Freedom is the important factor. Nature will sort out the facility failures. Freedom is the important factor. Nature will sort the failures. That's true. Tucker Carlson. Yeah, I love that guy. Oh, we're that far behind? Holy shit, you guys are patient. Tucker. I love Tucker. Ukraine war caused by the U.S. putting a base in Poland. Maybe. That's not what they said, but can you take Fenris Fury if you're still on Sadaf? Yeah, I don't see why not. What does one have to do with the other? Oh. Yeah, I do. I take Viagra every time I work out, 50 milligrams. Now, that doesn't mean that as the owner of the company, I'm not, and as a medical doctor, this isn't medical advice, but I personally do take 50 milligrams of Viagra and 2 scoops of Fenrir Fury every single time I work out. I never got a spontaneous boner in the gym. Certainly never one that lasted 4 to 6 hours. Charles Richards, why are you against stimulants for pre-workout? Do you like Viagra for training? Yeah, because stimulants hurt every aspect of your life. They serve no purpose. I don't use drugs. I don't do coke. I don't do heroin. I don't do crack, and I don't do caffeine. YouTube censored my first comment about Mosley. That's why the comment. Yeah, that makes sense now. Thoughts on leveraging Adderall for fat loss? I guess it would work. I mean, it's a stimulant, so you're going to have less of an appetite. But when it wears off, you're going to be really hungry. So then you're going to binge eat right before bed. It's just, like, why not just do it the right way? Don't try to cut corners with dumb shit. What injection sites you use for daily injections? How often can you use the same location for someone not as big as you are? I use triceps and delts. And if the needle's really big and I'm shooting like a ton at once, I'll do glutes. But for, if it's hurts and you've got like a build, if let's say you've got a knot there, don't inject the knot, go around it. If your whole triceps knots, don't inject the tricep anymore. Quads tends to knot up really bad all the time. Lats seem to not be so bad. All cultures have a right to exist in their own spaces. I don't know. Like, I think, the cool thing about America is everyone's welcome and everybody can have a place and everybody can have their cultures here. We don't have our own culture. Our culture is a combination of every culture. Some places have a unique culture of their own, like New Orleans or San Francisco. And although I may not agree with certain parts of San Francisco culture, I still want it to exist so that those people can go over there and stay the fuck away from me. Who has the better metal bands, Sweden or Finland? Ooh, that's a tough one. There aren't a lot of Finnish metal bands. There's Children of Bodom. There's Kalma. That's like there's like 2 Finnish bands. Sweden has like hundreds of bands, hundreds and hundreds. The entire Gothenburg sound, all of melodic death metal comes from Sweden. Although Bellacore is probably the kings of melodeath, and they're from Norway. But another one from Finland that's really good is Parasite Inc. But they kind of sound like Children of Bodom. They're just faster, more focused Children of Bodom. So if we're talking about, and all of grindcore came from Sweden, like The Grave and Entombed. So there wouldn't be death metal if it wasn't for grindcore out of Sweden and Britain. So if you look at all the bands combined, Sweden. If you look at what has the highest ratio of awesome bands per band, Finland. So there's more quantity, and through quantity, quality out of Sweden. But when you're talking about just like the percentage, if a random selection is like, we're going to pick a band, they have to be amazing. Would you pick a Swedish band or a Finnish band? I'm like, there's only a couple of Finnish bands, and every Finnish band's fucking amazing. I'm going to say Finland. Haggis like that. What are the main causes of low LH in blood work? Having testosterone. Or estrogen. Basal insulin should only be used if you're taking enough GH and your fasted BC is over. Right. But in that case, John, that means that they're insulin resistant, which means they should have fixed their insulin resistance before it got that bad. As soon as it got to 81 or 91, as soon as your blood glucose is at 91, you have to go like fucking DEFCON 4 and try to fix that by using berberine and steps, and or it's time for you to go on a mini cut. Maybe you're just too fat to be bulking at that point. You should never let it get to 100. Do you have any issues with a low SHBG running so much Masteron? Nope. I notice when mine goes too low, my estrogen. No, because my SHBG hasn't been over 6 in like 10 years, and I just started using Masteron a year ago. I think it was because you used the word link or something. Oh, I don't know. Is $2 a U for what? No, that's really cheap. That's a real cheap deal. It may not be real. If you get that cheap, go get it tested. Make sure it's 191, 122.15. Can you briefly elaborate on why the current medical system is evil? Because it is not healthcare, it's disease management. The goal is to let you get sick and then keep you sick, because the end of life treatment is worth $2 million per person. Kind of like the Matrix, how they plug people in to harvest them for BTUs. The medical system in the United States basically forces you to get medical insurance, and then rapes the medical insurance while you're dying, and it prolongs your death so they can get the most amount of money out of it. Like, they won't fix a problem with preventative medicine. They let you get sick and then profit off your demise. A slow, painful death. Mr. Masculine, Vigorous Steve and MPD, MPMD. Most of the creators say Masteron is horrible for hair, but you say Masteron is hair safe. No, I didn't say it's hair safe. It's no worse than any other compound. This is so simple. I don't understand how anyone could be confused by this. Testosterone turns into DHT. DHT causes hair loss. Therefore, testosterone is the worst on hair. None of the other compounds turn to DHT. Therefore, none of the other compounds are as bad as testosterone for hair. It's that simple. And they're just repeating shit that they heard. There's no actual reason for it. There's no logic to it. And if you have one person I know who ran Masteron said he got hair loss. Every other person that I've worked with, they said, well, surprisingly, no. In fact, most of them say they have more hair than when they were doing what they were doing before. By replacing most of their tests with Masteron, their hair grew back. So I'm not saying it's hair safe. It's that the testosterone is the most hair toxic, and that you want to have the minimum amount of DHT, the minimum amount of testosterone to preserve the most amount of hair. How to make sleep better at the end of prep. Any medications? Magnesium. Just ramp up the magnesium, take melatonin. If you can have access to GABA, take GABA. Those are good things. Don't die and then hold me accountable. This isn't medical advice. This is just what I do. All right. This is just what I do is 800 milligrams. I just tried 800 milligrams of magnesium last night instead of 400. Slept amazing. I do 10 milligrams of melatonin. I do 16 units of GH. Yeah. And it's magnesium biglycinate, not oxide. That'll give you diarrhea. Any CNS stimulant contracts blood flow and that bad. Yep. I use them, but only specific times, and it's very advanced, and do not recommend any beginning with the okay. Any CNS stimulant contracts blood flow. That's bad. I use them, but only specific times, and it is very advanced, and I do not recommend for beginning. They will abuse them. Yeah, so that's why my pre-workout does not have caffeine in it. The diet pill has caffeine in it because the purpose of the diet pill isn't to grow muscle. The purpose of the diet pill is to burn fat, and caffeine is good for fat loss. But the pre-workout, the point of the workout is to build muscle or to stimulate growth, and you want blood flow for that. You don't want to restrict blood flow with caffeine. Now, I am releasing another product that's just an energy drink called Berserker Frenzy. So you can, and there's directions to mix them together, and the flavors are coordinated so that you can mix Berserker Frenzy with Fenrir's Fury and get the full stimulant pre-workout effect. But I couldn't take the caffeine out of the pre-workout. I can just make it a separate product that you can put into it. Todd, are you a fan of any hardcore bands? Not really. I like Hatebreed, but I like deathcore a lot, but I don't like specific hardcore. I don't like the atmosphere. I guess Pantera is technically like a hardcore band. The idea of like some angry American that's fighting against the government and for anarchy, that's less interesting to me than the idea of like wizards and dragons and vampires and demons and stuff like that. That's more fun. Thoughts on fasting to reset appetite when bulking? Just go on a mini cut. Unleashed and Amon Amarth on leg day and back day. Yeah, Unleashed is a very obscure band. Amon Amarth is definitely the go-to of most men on leg day and back day, and the inspiration behind Valhalla Labs. I remember listening to AXCX. I don't know what that is in school. You can't say full name or it might. Oh, Anal Cunt. Yeah. What's funny is 2/3 of that band came Slipknot. Joey Jordison, one of the guitar players, Mick Thompson, and I think the bass player. Like the whole band part became Slipknot. Then they got a fruity guitar player and the fruity singer from Stone Sour, Corey Taylor, to make the band marketable to chicks. Do you conduct or host any educational classes for bodybuilding? This channel. That's this channel is for that purpose. Bug Pharma is a drug dealer. They don't want to lose customers. Big Pharma, yeah. Let's see here. How the hair transplant holding up. Looks pretty good. This is my 3 grams of Masteron with all my hair loss from 3 grams of Masteron. You know, I have more hair now with the 3 grams of Masteron than I did when I didn't have Masteron and was using just Test. And people are like, well, Masteron's making you old. No, fuck nuts. I'm dieting. Watch here. See? Don't look old anymore. The skin's just not lost a lot of fat quickly, and so it's saggy. It's just skin. Can you provide HRT service for someone in the UK? Nope, I can't prescribe in the UK, but I can advise you, and I have lots of people across the world. Not everyone is a direct patient. Get a consult with me, click the link in the description box, or if it's not on this video right now, go to any of the other videos on this channel, and there's a link in the description box, and that'll take you, or my Instagram is Todd Lee MD. Hold on. And at Todd Lee MD, and there's a link there to take you to the top link. The top link is the consult link. Perfect. Children of Bodom and Kalmar are two of my favorite bands of all time, but historically it's Sweden. In Flames and At the Gates pretty much started it all. Monomarath, Dark Tranquility, Hypocrisy, Swedes. Yeah, there's no limit to the amount. There are more Swedish metal bands than there are metal bands that aren't from Sweden. Like Yngwie Malmsteen, I would say, started it all. Like with the whole concept of Swedish guitar playing, it's like you can't outdo Sweden when it comes to metal. But 3 out of 3 of the Finnish bands are fucking amazing. Damn, Todd, this is a great upgrade to your setup. You like it? Thank you. I'm glad. Let's see here. Mike Reynolds, Insomnium and Omnium Gatherum. I'm familiar with both those bands. Oh, I like those bands. Okay, cool. Have you checked out Wolfheart yet? No, I haven't. If you like Bellacore, you'll like Wolfheart. Hold on. I'm always going to take Mikey Reynolds. I'm not sure. It might be the same Mike Reynolds. No, it's not. There's a Mikey P I went to med school with, but Mike Reynolds is not the same guy as Mikey P. But I always think of Mikey P. Wolfheart. King of the North album 2022. Does that sound familiar? They're on the Melodeath Masters collection, so it sounds like it's going to get good. All right, hopefully YouTube doesn't ban me for copyright. All right, so I'm interested in that. If you use stimulant, add a vasodilator like sildenafil or tadalafil. Right, or you could use the sildenafil without using the stimulant, and even better, right? Have you listened to Finnish metal band called Winter Sun? No. Check it out. Maybe I have. Is it over like a snow-covered field? Winter Sun. Yes, I have. They're fucking awesome. Yeah, I have heard that band before. They're fucking sweet. So every Finnish fucking metal band's good. Arch Enemy singers with future baby mama, Rip Joey Jordanson. Yeah, Alyssa White Glutes is probably, in my opinion, the most attractive woman on the planet. Do you cap GH doses for amateur clients, or they can afford 10 off the rip would be approved? I don't cap anything for people in general. If I'm like, I've never seen anyone be able to afford enough GH to where, and be able to handle enough GH to where I was scared. Do you use Nebivolol? No. That's not how it works, bro. Yeah, you don't want to slow your heart rate. You need your heart rate to pump blood so you can get oxygen to your tissues while you're lifting. You never want to use a beta blocker if you have any goals. I was a little concerned about your heavy breathing in some of your videos a few weeks ago, and when you were resting during training video. Do you think it's related to total milligram amount? Not trolling. No, I have asthma, so that's why. Oh. P.S. I love your new Q&As. All right, cool. I'm glad you like them. Is Mir Begran better than Klein? I don't know what it is. I'm Mira Begran. Yeah, I've never heard of it. 5K subscribers are too low as compared to the value you're providing for amateur bodybuilders. Would love to enroll if you decide to start education in the future. So the app, when it's out, is going to have exclusive videos that I can't show here, like site injections and all types of shit that I can't get into, like politically incorrect stuff. And whereas YouTube is supposed to be like squeaky clean, like an ABC Family, like my paid channel is going to be like InfoWars. And I don't mean that it's going to be political. I just mean that it's going to be shit that you can't talk about. So I'll have tons of exclusive content on the app There'll be the Discord style forum on the app. There'll be training videos that and if you upgrade to the coaching plan, that your diet will be on the app for you, your training program will be on the app for you, and you can click on each exercise and see the way that I execute that exercise, all that type of stuff. So we're just going high tech. We're going 21st century with the coaching program. And maybe we can even get Karina to participate. When do you sleep? I sleep between 4 a.m. What time is it? Isn't it early? Yeah, it's early. I sleep usually between 3 a.m. and about noon. Maybe I'll sleep until 1 or 2 p.m. Dr. Todd, would you like take an Alyssa White Glutes as a client? Yeah, of course. I'm pretty sure she's still married to Doyle, the guitarist from the. No, she is not. She's married to Doyle. I hung out with Doyle once. Doyle's like twice or three times her age. And she's a vegan, so it'd be difficult, but I do my best. I try not to. I'm sure I defend her, man. Let's be real here. I offend every woman. For a mass phase course, do you still recommend the same test and GH doses with EQ? I don't understand. It's okay to run EQ higher than test. I don't see what. Here's the thing: if EQ is an AI in you, then your estrogen would be crushed, and then you would not convert to GH to IGF-1. So then there'd be no point. That's why everyone runs more tests than EQ, is because they need to keep their estrogen reasonable. That doesn't, now if EQ is not an AI in you, you could run EQ at really high levels. Before Metatropes, I used the GH I could afford. Now I use as much I can handle the side effects from. But John, is it not true that you tap out at about 8 units and you're like an ultra advanced person? So for a beginner to be able to handle 8 units, I've never heard of a beginner handling 8 units of GH. I mean, when I first started, I couldn't handle 6. What's the deal with the numb hands on GH, and why would it be constant thing, just more or less severe at different times? I think it has to do with water retention, and that's the main side effect people get. That's when I say people can't handle that much GH, it's usually their hands is the first sign that they can't handle it. I had a low LH and test of 311. I'm 39. Got 25 milligrams a day and clomiphene prescribed. Sound reasonable for you? Yeah, but I mean, at 39, you're not getting any younger and you're not going to have any more kids. You might as well just be on real testosterone. And clomiphene has more side effects probably than the testosterone does. I remember years ago seeing your old videos. There was one where you said in your car saying you prefer GRP6 to HGH for purposes of longevity. Is this still a relevant take? So that sort of makes sense. But if you're going to go with a peptide route, I would say you might as well just use MK677. And the reason I said that was because you want to have the maximum healthy amount of GH release, but there's a point where MK677 isn't going to even give you optimum results, or neither will GHRP6. And that's when you got to use GH. And also, that was a long time ago when real GH was either extremely expensive or you could get Chinese generic GH that wasn't very good. Now that the Chinese stuff is as good as the farm grade stuff, it's so much cheaper just to get good GH than it is to get the GHRP6. So if it's a $20 bottle of GHRP6 or a $100 bottle of GH, use the GHRP6. Now people are getting this peptide shit from HRT clinics that are charging hundreds of dollars for the bullshit Mickey Mouse stuff when the real stuff is cheaper. Like one bottle of GH could be like a kit of GH. If it's like $300, one bottle's $30 of GH versus paying $100 or $200 for that GHRP6 bullshit. Now it's upside down. It doesn't make any sense. Kiki Wango on YouTube, you'll think, oh, I know who she is. She's Alicia Vigil's guitar player. Alicia Vigil's the bass player for Dragon Force. Oh man, you're underestimating my metal knowledge, man. I know who Kiki, and she's also now the session guitar player for Smashing Pumpkins. After cut, how to taper of 25 T3 and 100 T4. I was thinking of first taking the T3 out. There's no taper. That they kick in so fast, just drop them and it'll kick back in. Just make sure you're eating clean as fuck and you're not You've already worked your isocaloric point up. You've already tapered off your cardio. You're on a full blast of gear. You're training good. You're eating clean. There's no dirt, no fat in your diet whatsoever. You pull those thyroid meds, they should be back online in no time. Make sure you're taking your selenium, your iodine, your zinc, your magnesium, all that shit. Sassy Todd Lee MD. It's a picture of my nuts. All right. As a manlet, Todd, do you have any Napoleon complex? Well, I mean, okay, so let's talk about this. People put Napoleon down because he's short. And then they're saying that because he's short, he was alpha. But they don't call a short dude who's alpha a short alpha person. They say he's got a Napoleon complex. So what they're really doing is they're saying that people who are short aren't entitled to having confidence or carrying themselves appropriately. If the same person was 6 feet tall, their behavior would then be justified. Like it doesn't make any sense that because someone's short, they're not allowed to have confidence. They're not allowed to be assertive. That only tall people are allowed to be assertive. That just doesn't make any sense. So when people call it a Napoleon complex, what they're saying is the only thing I can put you down about is that you're short. It's that there's nothing left. There's no other insults that can be done. Hold on. So let's take care of this real quick. That the thing about YouTube is people are bulletproof. They can do whatever they want. But you got to take any low-hanging fruit when you can get it. If you can get revenge or take care of something before it's really a problem, you should do it. If you can get revenge, let's see here. Here you go. All right. We'll go back for that later. I'm wasting too much of your time. All right. So who's next? Does semaglutide negative negate the hunger effects on MK677? Probably an overkill. Aaron, any idea who Milo Sarchev's insulin carb protocol used to prescribe T3? Why? I think T3 is as fat loss med, not bulking. Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to ask him. Would it be better doing daily injections using 30 or 27, even though it could be sub-Q due to body fat being higher? Well, if you have to choose between 30 sub-Q or 27 the muscle, go 27 the muscle. Even over-the-counter fat burners, they don't work like twice the price of just getting Clen, and testosterone is twice the price of test. Exactly. Let's see here. How you feel about sermorelin and BPC? I don't see what they have to do with each other. Isn't sermorelin a secretagogue and BPC is a healing drug? That they're nothing related. Oh, Napoleon wasn't short. He was like 5'8". The measurement system used at the time in France was off compared to the metric system. Huh. So, well, he is short because 5'9" is average, but back then 5'8" was, so it's like you're basically making, well, that's not what he means though. Except he said as a manlet. So basically, I'm not a complete human because I'm short, and therefore I'm not entitled to being sure of myself or assertive or having confidence. You use Wegovy or any of those GLP? No, I don't. Is it possible to correct severe asymmetry with the local GH injections? Probably not. You just have to fix your training. Milos uses massive GH doses in large insulin protocols, and supposedly GH lowers T3, so supplementing is a theory. I think at first GH converts T4 to T3, and then as the T4 pool gets depleted, T3 is then lowered. I think the correct way to fix that is to use the T4 prophylactically, and that's what worked for me for years. As long as I supply T4, my T3 stays fine with 20 units of GH. I know. Okay. Sorry, I used 25 gauge to go IM. That you should never do anything sub-Q. Love your content, sir. Thank you. Thank you. I don't want to use 25 daily. Then use the 27 daily intramuscular, or use 30 a daily intramuscular, or 29 milligrams, or 29 gauge daily, or use 31 gauge daily. Use anything you want as long as it's in the muscle. I am 3 weeks out from my contest. I'm approximately 5% body fat, according to an in-body composition test. Yeah, that's probably not accurate. I seem to be losing muscle size. Am I too lean for 3 weeks out? Should I have my carbs? I'm on climb. I don't know enough about you, man. What you should do is get a consult. And if you're in Japan, we'll make it work. And I will troubleshoot the shit out of your program. Yeah. I mean, the chances are you are eating into some tissue, but whether it's, I don't know why you are, and I can fix it. Just get the console. Bruno, I use 29 for IM, the delts and triceps. Yep, that's a good one. I use 30, but 29 works great. I agree with you. I was explaining Milos protocols. Oh, okay, cool. Thanks, buddy. And I wasn't disagreeing with you. Oh. Oh. All right. How are we doing on time? I don't even know how long I've been in here. Do you guys know how long I've been in here? I don't know how long I've been in here. Let me see if I can figure this out. Yeah, it doesn't even tell me how long this. Oh, it's an hour and 22 minutes. This is good. Oh, I got more questions here. No, I don't. Oh, here, there is more questions here. Yeah. Yeah, but if someone is fat, it might be a little more difficult to do IM. No? I mean, if you're that fat, you shouldn't be taking steroids. You should go on a diet and lose fat. And then once you're lean enough to where you can build muscle, then start using steroids. Nope. Test insulin GH good for 52-year-old. Been training for 25 years. Don't want to run higher compounds. Yes. Well, I don't know about the insulin unless you're someone who needs insulin. But if is test and GH good for a 52-year-old? Yes. And I don't know what these obvious reasons are, because I'm not convinced that just because the dose is high means it's too high, unless you have no muscle mass. I don't know what we're talking about anymore. I'm Boxing Day, so I don't like to inject shoulders, but I'll give it a try with 30. You could do triceps. No one's looking at those. Or you lats, glutes. It's been about 1 hour and 25 minutes. Yes, it has. My wife wants me to come to bed, so I'm out later, bro. All right, talk to you later, man. Say hi for me. All right. Does ferritin of 7 concern you on TRT? I would have to know the whole picture. Not tested before TRT. No blood donations, hematocrit, mid, low 50s. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'd have to know what your iron is. I think it's more complicated than that. Get a consult. I'm happy to help. Why is GH superior to MK677? Because MK677 is just going to give you the maximum amount your body is willing to produce. Real GH, you can take as much as you want. I'm actually lean. Haha. I just need to rotate muscles more. Okay, then do that. Joe Curtis, MK6 is limited by what your body can produce. GH can surpass that. Yes, JT explained it perfectly. Ventroglutide. Ventroglute is my favorite for injection. I don't think anyone knows what that is. I know that it's the part of your glute, but I mean, that's A lot of people don't have anatomy background. Where's the best place to inject your triceps? In the muscle. No, I mean, lateral head is an easy place to reach. You can either go here or you can go here. And you're like, well, what if your tricep isn't that big and on the surface? It's like, I don't know why you're doing steroids. You should at least have big muscles before you start steroids. You don't need steroids until you've already maxed out your natural potential. So you don't agree with main gaining. I don't know what that I don't know why you would come to that conclusion. I said nothing about that. I think that main gaining implies that you're already lean because this is Greg Doucette's philosophy. Greg Doucette feels that you should be never more than 12, maybe 15% body fat. And then you would eat in a slight calorie surplus to gain muscle. So main gaining means you maintain the same level of body fat or don't gain. He doesn't believe in bulking. He believes in lean mass building, which he calls main gaining. I do believe in that. So I don't know where you came up with that. I hate it when people put words in my fucking mouth. What does this button do? Oh, cool. I can, okay, they was right here the whole time. Where is that guy? I didn't realize I had that option. Yo, mama. Okay, hold on. I'm going to find him. Mm-mm. I know you guys are bored. I'm sorry. I I should do this on my own time, but I don't want to forget. I'll find it later. All right. Ventral glute. Yep. All right. Let's see. Sammy G, you're the one using 18 grams to load, then switching to a 30. You actually remember this shit? What? All right. It's great. I never even felt anything going in there at the bigger gauges. All right. Will BPC injections help with healing from a torn ligament surgery? That's what it's for. So, yes. Bruno, I draw inject with the insulin syringe. All right. My insulin syringes have 30. Oh my God. We're still going on about this shit. Okay. Thanks. How beneficial would it be to take insulin without GH? It has one has nothing to do with the other, man. It's like if you need insulin to be able to get all your carbs in, then you should be on it GH anyway, because there's no point. I It's like how beneficial would it be to buy shoes without feet? Just do it right. Like, why is everyone always trying to find a way to get away with doing it wrong? Just fucking do it right. Test GH every fucking cycle for every fucking person, no matter what. Then you add in Masteron to get to an anabolic threshold. No one really needs insulin. And if you have to ask about it, it's probably way over your head. The point of insulin is if you're trying to grow and you can't eat enough food to grow because your limiting factor is your appetite, insulin will make you hungrier. That is what it's for. I took care of the troll for you, Todd. How? Did you? Oh, thank you. I couldn't find it on there. Appreciate you, Alvaro. All right. What is IGF-1's effect on carbs? It should help load them into the muscle better. JT, yes, sir. That's it. Let's see. Thoughts on oral BPC? Um, it's for gastric ulcers. It has nothing to do with injuries. 100%. All right, cool. What's this? Sigma's GH is real and affordable. Okay. How much is it per IU? Out of curiosity. Oops. Female recovery from total knee replacement next week. Oh, that sounds good. If you want to throw in some LR3, that can't hurt, but you've got basically the Todd Lee post-surgery protocol kicking right there. Good job. Insulin's effect on IGF. How does it actually work and how and when to leverage it? So insulin will help convert the GH into IGF. So if you're using GH, insulin will get more out of your GH for the purposes of IGF. Is legit LR3 a good as Inclex? From what I understand, no. Hey guys, I've got to run to the bathroom and I probably should get going because I probably have to get another meal in. It's been fun. May the force be with you.